everyone. Myself Khushi, and I am a law student in IME Law College. I am here as an intern in a very prestigious law firm, Lexis and Company. So, in this video, we will discuss the very big and a very landmark case, a Keshwanand Bharti case. Let's begin with the introduction of this case. The Keshwanand Bharati challenged the Kerala and the land reform legislation in 1970, which imposed the restriction on the management of religious property. The Keshwanand Bharati and other versus the state of Kerala is a certainly one leading case in the constitutional history of India, if not the most important judgment, the post-independent India, and it is a popularly known as a fundamental right case. It is rightly said that the judgment in the instant case brought an end to the conflict between the executive and the judiciary and proved to be a savior of a democratic system and set up in the country. A 13 judges bench was set up by the Supreme Court and the biggest so far to hear the case. Now we will discuss what is the background of the Keshwanand Bharti case. The Supreme Court contended absolute power to Parliament in amending the Constitution, as was the same in a verdict in the Shankari Prasad case and Shankari Prasad case 1951 and Sajjan Singh case 1965. In the both cases, the court had ruled that the term law in Article 13 must be taken to mean a rule and regulation made in exercise of ordinary legislative power and not amendments of the Constitution made in the exercise of constituent power under Article 368. This means the Parliament had a power to amend any part of the Constitution, including fundamental rights. But Article 13, Clause 2 reads, "The state shall not make any law which takes away or abridges the right conferred by this part, the part third, and the law made in the contravention of this clause shall be extent of the contravention be avoided." However, the Golaknath case, 1967, the Supreme Court held that the Parliament could not amend the fundamental rights and the power to amend the Constitution to be only in the hands of the Constituent Assembly. The court held that the amendment under Article 368 is a law within meaning of the Article 13 of the Constitution. Therefore, if an amendment takes away the breach of the fundamental rights conferred the part third, it's clearly declared void. Means if a parliament made any law which is the Supreme Court feel that is the unconstitutional or it breach or violates the fundamental right, the Supreme Court have a power that they do judicial review on this law and make it a null and void. So they disaffect the judgment of the Supreme Court in the Golaknath case 1967, in the case of R.C. Rupert case 1970, the Madhav Rao Scindia case 1970, then the government enacted the major amendment to the constitution. The most notable means here the case which were introduced in the Supreme Court, which totally challenges the constitutional amendment of the government of the parliament, since the parliament that understand here that they have to make some strong amendment which increase their power, because the Supreme Court there is a fight between the Supreme Court and the Parliament. So the Parliament introduced the 24th Constitutional Amendment Act 1971. The Parliament had also given its power to amend any part of Constitution, and 25th Constitutional Amendment Act 1972, the right to property had been removed as a fundamental right. Now we will discuss the fact of the case, that what is the story behind and what is the fact. The Keshwanand Bharti was a chief pontiff of the Ednur Mutt as a monastic religious institution located in Kerala. Bharti had some land in a mutt which is owned, and the Kerala state government passed a land reform amendment act 1969. As per this act, the government could acquire some of the land that belonged to the mutt. In March 1970, the Bharati moved to the Supreme Court under the section 32 of the Constitution. Under this section, if the government breaches or violates the fundamental rights of citizens, the citizen can approach Supreme Court directly under the section 32 and impose some writs on them to enforce the rights that were guaranteed to him under Article 25, right to practice and propagate religion, right, Article 26, right to manage religious affairs, Article 14, right to equality, Article 19 1F, freedom to acquire property, Article 31, compulsory acquisition of property. So now we will discuss what is the issues before the court. Whether the following are the constitution, the content and the questions which come before the Supreme Court. The question is like whether the following are constitutional valid. 24th Constitutional Amendment 1971 is valid. 25th Constitutional Amendment Act 1972 is valid. The extent of to which the Parliament can exercise its power to amend the Constitution. The question underlying the case also include was the power of Parliament to amend the Constitution is unlimited. In other words, could Parliament alter to amend any part of the Constitution? They have a free right that they can amend anything of the Constitution, even the extent of taking away of the fundamental rights. Now we will go ahead with the contentions of the petitioner and the contention of the respondent. The contention of the petitioner put before the Supreme Court is the petitioner contend that the Parliament cannot amend the Constitution in a manner that they was not their power to do this. This is limited. The Parliament cannot make an amendment to the Constitution to change the basic structure as was set forth of the Justice Mudhulkar in the Sajjan Singh versus State of Rajasthan case. They argued that these 24th and 25th constitutional amendment were violated the fundamental rights provided in Article 19(1)(f). So this is the contention of the petitioner. Now we will discuss the contention of the respondent in this case. He said that the Parliament's supremacy is the Indian legal system basic structure, and hence it is a boundless power. Means it is a boundless power of the of the Parliament to amend the Constitution. They are not bounded with anyone. This respondent stressed that in order to fulfill its socio-economic obligation, the limited power of the Parliament to amend the Constitution must be upheld. Now we will go ahead to the judgment of this case. The landmark judgment was delivered on the 24th April 1973 by thin majority of 7:6 because there was a sitting of the one of the biggest benches, the 13 judges benches, and they only take only 7.6 7:6 thin majority held that any provision of the Indian Constitution can be amended by the Parliament in order to fulfill its socio-economic obligation that were guaranteed to the citizen as given in the Parliament, provide that the such amendment did not change the Constitution's basic structure. The minority, however, in their dissenting opinion, the minority, the judges uh, who is not with this judgment, who is opts this judgment, where the very of the giving the parliament unlimited power, amending power, that the Supreme Court give the unlimited power to the parliament. The court held that this 24th constitutional amendment was entirely valid. They not declared the invalid. The 24th amendment is the valid, but it found the second part, 25th constitutional amendment, it is the void, and declare it null and void. The 24th constitutional amendment act. The Supreme Court declared that the Article 31C as a unconstitutional. The Article 31C is the right to property is unconstitutional and the invalid on the ground of the judicial review in the basic structure, and hence cannot be taken away. Despite the ruling that the Parliament cannot breach the fundamental right, the court upheld that the amendment that removed the fundamental right is a valid, that we have to remove the right to property as a fundamental right and add it in the same laws, and not including in the fundamental rights. The court ruled that in this spirit amendment would not be violate the basic structure of the constitution, that the parliament can make only those amendments which not violate the basic structure of the constitution. Now, what is the basic structure? For the basic structure, you would have to watch my second video, the part second of this video. Thank you so much.